Hey folks, welcome back here to my channel Whisky, Wismar. My name is Christopher, and today no big bottles here on my table, but instead these two Port Charlottes over here. So I thought it's a good idea to do some side-by-sides with different Port Charlottes of completely different nature. So for once over here I have a Port Charlotte matured in a Bourbon-Hogshead, so distilled 2001, bottled 2016 for the Isla Festival by the independent bottler Dramfool. No colorant, no chill filtration, of course. ABV 58.3%. And on the other hand, absolutely sherry forward, sherry cask matured, a sherry bomb, if you will, by the Maltman. Also Port Charlotte, 2002 it was distilled, 2016 it was bottled with 52.9%. And Port Charlotte is something, of course, or is a brand, the smoky brand from Bruichladdich, and Bruichladdich was always sort of flying under my radar at first, at least. So when I started enjoying whiskies, I didn't particularly like their bottle design, these baby blue rounded shaped bottles. Don't know. There was a lot of hype due to Jim McEwan and all the stuff that he did there. So didn't really appeal to me back then, at least. I got the chance to try some of the no age stated Bruichladdich and Port Charlottes here and there, and I really like them due to their particular and peculiar fruitiness, their complexity, and something that was highlighted by one of their recipes that was released. I'm not too sure for which bottling exactly. It was a Bruichladdich. It was, I believe, Scottish barley, and they had like 50 casks in this one vetting, and of all, there were casks of all kinds, wine cask, Madeira, Masala, port cask, rum cask, of course bourbon and sherry. So this is of course where this complexity is coming from, and Jim McEwan could then utilize the really wide variety, wide breadth of cask that they have there at their disposal. So this makes this quite educational, I hope. So on the one hand side, these are just single casks, so there's not as much of a complexity to be expected here. Of course, it can be completely different, and that these single casks insert all kinds of complexity due to various tertiary aromas, or the cask alone, or the distillate. But I'll see how this fares. I always like these side-by-sides. Two distillates, almost the same year, 2001, 2002. Pretty similar age, so 15 years, 14 years. And but completely opposite side of the spectrum. Here, very light in color, white wine, and on the other hand you really have a sherry bomb here, mahogany color. And now to nose it, to taste it, and to give it a mark. Quite excited. So I'll start with the bourbon matured one, bourbon cask matured one, bourbon hogshead I should say. It's a bourbon hogshead. And on the nose there is smoke, but it's very mild mannered smoke. It's not something akin to Lafroig or Outback that slaps you in the face, but instead it's more akin to Kirchhoffman, perhaps. Lafroig, eventually, there's the sweetness for the smoke, so powdered sugar, cotton candy, and this is rather naked, really. distillate driven. Now molasses, something I would associate with rums perhaps. Sugarcane, guava. Tropical fruit, yeah, they are here indeed. So even in the single cask, it's rather brightly fruity. Pineapple. Glazed pears, so maybe fried pears, caramelized. Some applesauce. Touch of vanilla. Pretty nice, yeah. Very, not as extreme as some of the Lafroigs or Ardbegs. Could never really taste a naked Lagavulin, although I still have a sample of the Jazz Festival one. That's rather light in color as well, so maybe it's similar to this. Yeah, now when you get used to the smoke, there's more stuff to be revealed underneath. Yeah, lots of fruit, yellow fruit, peaches, apricots. Just a tiny bit of bite from the smoke, yeah. It's not really vegetal, dry smoke, really phenolic, but it's almost to the other side of the spectrum. So not directly bonfire smoke, bacon aromas, not at all. I guess there's some sherry cask that I'm missing here for that, but nice mix of these tropical fruit and then subdued sweet smoke. Nice. Now for the Maltman one, the Sherry Bomb. Let's see how this one fares. Whew. Completely different world, yeah. These could not be further apart. There are associations of smoke here, maybe also because I know it is. This is nosing it now. I did the German video first a couple of minutes ago. It's rather. I had a lot of rubber, so not inner tire from a bicycle, but from actual, I don't know, trucks, cars. So rubber in a tube. But now, nosing it again, it's more on the sulfury side. Reminds me of very, very amazing Ben Rinnes from the Bottlers. 1982. Yeah, the same type of intrinsic smokiness. Of course, the Ben Rinnes was not smoky at all. It came all from the sherry cask, but here the smoke of the distillate and the sherry cask have a very similar association. So lots of spice. The oak, of course, is very loud, but there's hardly any fruitiness here. Perhaps some blood oranges and fig paste, plum sauce, with some imagination. Menthol, eucalyptus, herbal candy, and black pepper. The second time around, this is even better. And now, going back to this, that is naked, almost naked in its distillate, to the distillate side of things, it's much more focused on melon, on guava, on this peach and apricot that I had earlier, and the smoke sort of is in the background again. Alcohol almost not noticeable. even with more than 58%. So, have a sip. Yeah, there's the alcohol. Oh. Very prickly, juicy, sour, salivating. And lots of smoke there. Pretty characteristic smoke for some of the cajomens or Lafroigs I had. So rather sweet, honeyed, caramel, vanilla, citrus fruit. Yes, perhaps oranges. Not really dry or sour in a sense. It is just juicy due to the saliva-inducing nature of the distillate here. Quite oily and goes down very warming, a long finish. And all in all, pretty to the point experience. Yeah. Nice stuff. So I'll put some water in the last bit here in my glass. Now to the Sherryfass. Yeah, it's almost scary how much to the point this is to the old Ben Rinnes I was talking about. Maybe a little brighter, not as deep and brooding in the background, but the overt sulphury oakiness is definitely the same. Did Ben Rinnes ever produce smoky spirit in the 80s? I think not. Port Charlotte, of course, is smoky. It's peated. Not nearly as aggressive as the bourbon cask matured one. Only 53% ABV, but still very gentle arrival, but still bold enough to assert its nature of lots of licorice, espresso, some dark cocoa powder. The smoke is there, but very, very subdued. As I said, could have mistaken this for an old sherry cask whiskey. That is unpeated, of course. I'll put some water in the rest of this as well. So almost no fruitiness in this. It's only this rather sulphury side, oak spice, some sweetness, espresso, leather perhaps, and cocoa, but not really any kind of fruitiness, with some imagination, of course, dried plums and figs, but who's to tell? Yeah, this is very focused, distillate-driven spirit. Still sense that this is smoky, but not this blast of peat that you have when you first nose it, of course. Some dusty, dusty attic, but very bright. Still, it's not really, of course, it does not induce any sense of old, of long matured whiskey. Not at all. This is fresh, but vibrant. Yeah, nice stuff. Very fruit forward, tropical fruit, smoked pineapple, some honey sensations, herbal tea perhaps, medium long finish. Nice stuff. It has quite high marks on whiskey base. I can see why. This is very to the point, peated bourbon cask whiskey. Some more nuts perhaps? Hazelnuts, Brazil nuts. Yeah, more of the same. Yeah, licorice, this rubbery, sulfury association is there always. Espresso, more of it. Due to the velvety arrivals, there I always have, me personally, the association of honeydew, like dewy, juicy, not bitter, not sour, not sweet fruit. Yeah, this is what I have here as well, paired with the peaty complexity of the distillate. Nice stuff. Very good. Like these two. Looking forward to tasting more of Port Charlotte, definitely. So now to give it a mark, I would rate the Dramfool one, the 15-year-old bourbon matured one, 88 out of 100. The one from the Maltman will get 89. Can you see this? Yeah. 89 out of 100. What would I have expected for a higher point? More fruitiness and a little more than just the fruitiness. It is nice, but it's not really my particularly most preferred style of whiskey. So some other people will rate this much higher, but 88, I know this is absolute quality, so for me personally 88 over 100, and 89 due to the lack of overt fruitiness. If this had fruitiness on top of it, on the palate and on the nose, this would blow you away on all fronts. Yeah, this is still, regardless, a very nice whiskey, but beware, there's sulfur in this. Okay, hope you enjoyed this. I will see you again next time, and wish you, of course, a nice week, good week. Always have a dram ready for you to enjoy. Then, bye bye.